Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup and skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks on how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you consider subscribing and joining the fam. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a first impressions video on the brand new Forget Me Not collection from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. I got this in PR. Y'all know how I feel about Blend Bunny. You already know. Just putting it out there. But I'm really excited to test out this collection. Now, I will say that this is a very different collection for me because it is honestly, I think it's a makeup artist collection. So, I do have some thoughts about it overall as someone who's just a regular, smegular consumer, but we will get into that at the end. Just so you know, the way this, first impressions will go is I'll give you guys some product details. I'll pop up some swatches so you can see what the palette looks like on my skin tone. For context, I'm a medium deep complexion with a yellow golden undertone. And then I'm just going to do one quick look on this entire face. I look like an egg because I have nothing on other than foundation. So I did my foundation, I did my brows, threw on some concealer. So I have the base down, but there's no definition, which is why I look like an egg. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna dive into the product details first, and then we'll dive into some swatches, and like I said, we'll end with a look and my first impressions thoughts. So the collection comes with two products. First, you have the Forget Me Not face and eye palette, and then second, you have the brush set. Now, this is the second time Blend Bunny has done brushes. They have done eye brushes before, but this is the first time we see eye and a face brush. So it's very different from their previous release. Let's start by talking about the face and eye palette first. So the product details on the website say, Forget Me Not is a 16 large pan versatile eye and face palette created in a wide array of universal neutral shades to be used on the go as a travel companion, and also works well for neutral glam and bridal/client work. The colors chosen were created to be mixable and versatile for use on brows, eyes, as contour, bronzer, highlight, smoky liner, a pop of shimmer, etc., making it a staple for anyone and extremely useful in a makeup artist kit. Mixing brighter days with any shade will lighten it, and mixing any of the deeper tones with the lighter will customize a perfect tone for you. Cool shades as well as warm shades make up this palette, so mixing warm with cool can neutralize for the perfect shade you are looking for. So here we have the palette. When you open it up, you have the 16 beautiful, huge pan sizes, because this is meant to be both for the face and the eye. There is a mirror on this side as well, and it opens up like a book instead of like a typical palette like this. So I think it's such a cool concept. Now on the mirror there is a small quote. It just says "Forget Me Not" right here. On the back you have some additional product details, including the ingredients. Some of these are eye shadows and some of these are pressed pigments, so if you have sensitivities, please pay attention to those. It does say that this is vegan, cruelty-free, and has a 12-month shelf life. So that's it for the product details, and like I said, this is going to retail for $44. Next up, we have the Forget Me Not brush set. So it was customized to be great for many functions and on the go. So let's just go through each of these. You have an angled brush for filling in brows and for wing liner. A firm packing brush for picking up and packing shimmer on or highlight. A medium fluffy blending brush. A unique angled dense brush that's great for nose contour and snatching other small areas of the face. I love the angle on this. And finally, a large fluffy contour/face brush. Okay, so now I'm going to pop up some quick swatches so you guys can see how this performs on my skin tone. Okay, and now let's dive into a quick and easy peasy eye look. Now I wanted to try and contour for you guys, but I am terrified to do that and I feel like it's not going to work out for me, so we'll save the contour for a different day. But let's go ahead and try to get some of these beautiful shadows on the eye. Okay, so using the fluffy brush, I'm going to go into this shade. It's called Anticipation, and I'm going to use that as my transition shade in the crease. Yeah. is definitely a little bit denser than I thought it was gonna be. Also, I should have washed this. Oh my Jesus. Don't do what I did. I just pulled these straight out of the package, y'all. The powders are beautifully soft though, so I'm very excited about that. And of course we're getting excellent pigment. Now this is the only blending brush in the set, so I'm gonna use my color switch to clean that off. And then I'm gonna go one down into, actually, yeah, let's go into Picture Perfect, and we're gonna use that to start deepening up the crease. Just picking up a little bit of that, and then I'm concentrating that mainly on the outer part here.
Sheets over your head like a pretty bear with both our cheeks turning red. Yeah, never think before I react.
Okay, next I'm gonna go into the shade right next to it. It's called Unforgettable, and I'm gonna use my B5 blush brush, not blush, from the original Blend Bunny set. Just picking that up and concentrating that into the outer part of the eye. Just trying to see how deep this shade is gonna give me. Oh, that's good. I was wondering if I had to go in with another one, but this is giving me all the depth that I want. And I'm trying to keep this relatively short, relatively neutral, and simple because, as you heard from the description, this is marketed kind of as a bridal client product, which I think is meant to be more soft, more ethereal looking, almost kind of natural glam. At least that's how I view it. Getting a little bit of fallout, but I don't really tap off my brush as well as I should. And this should just easily dust away. Okay, I love how this is looking, so you guys know what it is. It is time for the shimmers. So we have 4 shimmers on the bottom here. And these can be used kind of all over the eye and face. So I'm going to be using these both as eyeshadow and as highlight. So I'm going to start by actually going into the gold shimmer. This is the deepest shimmer in the palette. This is called Magical. And I'm going to be using that flat, dense brush that's described for shimmers. And I'm going to put that into the center of the lid. And when I actually swatched this, I felt like these were pretty creamy shimmers, and they felt different from the shimmers in the palettes. Even the new Sugar and Grunge and, you know, All Done Up, I feel like those have a little bit more powder to them, but these felt like they were just a little bit creamier. Getting good pickup, and I think that's probably why this is a dense brush, because of the creamier texture there. Okay, it's picking up well, but you guys know me, I'm a finger girly, so I just want to test it out with my fingers. So I'm just going to go in with my middle finger. Ooh. Oh my god, wow. So this is with a brush, this is with a finger. So if you don't want to look like this, just go in with the brush, but if you want the high impact, a finger application is always best. Now, one thing I will say I noticed about this brush is how very pointy the tip is, which means that it can get into the inner parts of the eye really, really well. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to clean off that first shimmer, because, you know, we use multiples around here. And I'm going to go into Cheers, which is another like really light goldy kind of shimmer, because this one is more gold, this one is more pink, this one has a more sort of silver, this one has a more silver to it. So I'm gonna go in with the almost like champagne, like super icy champagne shimmer, and I'm gonna pick that up with a brush Same brush from part 1. I'm gonna plop that into the inner part of the eye. Yeah, I love the precision that this brush is giving me.
That you ever felt love's this crazy. Doesn't matter if it's in my bed. Take it to the roof and play pretend. Act like this ain't never gonna end. Remember when we used to...
Typically for this part of the eye, I would have to go in with my rougher number 2 or the number 21 or the number 28 because they are smaller brushes. But even with a brush this size, this sort of pointy tip helps me get really precisely here. This is nice. Okay, you see the vision, you know where this is going, and you know the drill. Time to just blend until the gods tell me to stop and just clean things up a little bit. I do have a little bit of fallout. That's okay. I'm making it worse, but it'll be fine. All right, so like I said, time to just clean things up, and then I'll come back, zoom out a little bit, and show you guys how I apply the rest of the face palette to the rest of my face. Okay, so for the most part, the eyes are done, and now it's time to move on to the rest of the face. So, I don't know how to contour. Just gonna put it out there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and bronze my face. Now you'll see that the palette has a mix of warm and sort of cool tones. We're gonna focus on the warm tones. I think I'm gonna go in with this shade. What's this called? Picture Perfect. Is that warm? I feel like it's warm. And we're gonna try to bronze with that. So I'm gonna use the face brush that came with this collection. Nice pickup. Jesus, don't let this turn out horrible. I'm gonna start at the top of my head because I don't know. No, I think that's cool. I think it's cool. Yeah, this is cool toned, right? Okay, that's creating shadow. That is not what I was going for. So, you know, we're just gonna blend, just blend. I am not a makeup artist, y'all. I'm doing my best, okay? Doing my best. But yeah, so that was cool. It was not what I wanted. So let's try to get a warm shade. Y'all probably saw that it was cool. Okay, so we're going into 1 over. This is called Unforgettable. It's rich, so I'm terrified. Keep a little bit of that. Let's start on this side now so we can even out the mess. Okay. I am not doing a very good job at this. I apologize. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. She's figuring it out. Okay, so we have something going. So that shade is Unforgettable. Now it is a very rich shade, as you can probably tell. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to buff it into the skin so that it's not as harsh on my complexion. Now I think we have a little bit of, you know, something going on, but I do think that that shade is a bit too rich for me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go into this shade up here. It's called Anticipation. This is actually basically the same shade I used in my crease as my transition color, and I'm going to use that to soften this up a little bit. Although I feel like a lot of these shades are pulling real cool on me. Y'all, forgive me for being a very bad representation of this. Yeah, most of these shades are pulling pretty darn cool on me. But it's okay. It is a-okay. It does not look horrible. I just don't know what I'm doing. Let me know. What do you guys think? I feel like these shades are pulling really cool toned on me. Now I'm just going in with my brush that I use with my powder to kind of soften these things up. Because I feel like I'm getting more of a contour than a bronze. Which is probably what it's supposed to do. And I'm gonna have to go over this with something a little bit warmer because I feel like I have more shadow than I have bronziness. So, but it's fine. It is totally fine. Is this what a contour is supposed to look like? Yeah, this is definitely cool in shadow and probably a bit too much. Now, to try to add some warmth to my face, because let's just keep going, I'm gonna go in with my Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze. Like, just keep building until it looks right. That's my motto right now. It's very, very soft. I feel like it's gonna warm things up a bit. So I hope so. There we go. Now we're getting a bit of a bronze. Okay, I definitely have too much going on. I fully admit that. But I think that now I look a little bit more bronze than when I did before. Because I think both of those colors pulled a little too gray and cool toned on me and were definitely more of a contour than I thought. But, you know, that's a me problem. And as someone who's not used to operating with face products like this, it's totally fine. Okay, so we have that. Let me throw on some blush real quick. For blush, I'm gonna go into my Bare Cheeks palette from Blend Bunny. I'm gonna try to keep things pretty darn neutral because, again, this is a very simple look. So I'm gonna mix this shade and this shade together for pretty simple, neutral, peachy blush. This is one of 2 cheek palettes that the brand released. And this is the more neutral, natural of the 2. And lastly, highlight. I'm gonna go into the, honestly, the pink highlight, which doesn't really match anything, but I'm trying to try as much as possible. Picking that up, and I'm just gonna, I'm trying to be very, very gentle because this is a very light shade for my complexion, and I'm trying to not overdo this. So I'm slowly building so that it doesn't look insane. Okay. I like how that looks. And yes, I know the pink doesn't match this look at all, but just ignore how mismatched everything is. I love a good highlight, and I'm trying to not overdo it, but I like to shine. Okay, now I'm overdoing it. All right, so this is what the face is looking like as of right now. I'm gonna go finish up my waterline, just throw some shadow on there, add a quick lip, and then I will come back, show you guys the final look, and give you my final first impressions, thoughts on this palette.
And you had the nerve to shrug. You said I'm skipping town a couple months. Picked up all your late night calls. Took your crumbs, then none at all. Gotta feel disposable. Slide down the door, I second guess. If all this tenderness was even real, I guess.
Okay, I'm back. This is the final look. Yes, choices were made. This lip is doing too much. I agree. I see you, but we're just gonna rock with it. Let it go. So yeah, this is the final face. This is what everything is looking like, all pulled together. Let's talk about it. Well, before we talk about it, I just want to tell you guys what I did for the rest of my face. And pretty much just the waterline. So in the waterline, I went in with these two shades in the outer part of the waterline. And then I went in with the sort of pink shimmer because I wanted to kind of pull together the highlight that I used into other parts of my face. So I used that pink shimmer here as well as in my brow bone. And for the lips, like I said, choices were made. I actually decided to go in with the Runaway Matte Lip Cream from Blend Money. This is actually from their Sugar and Grunge release. And I topped it off with a Sigma lip gloss. So it has a bit of a purple tinge to it. And I feel like this is turning this very, very grunge. So I'm not gonna keep this on all day, but this is where we at now. So just let it go. Okay, so let's talk about the palette. The Blend Bunny Cosmetics Forget Me Not palette. This is nice. And I think the quality on this is good. However, I don't think I'm the right person for this palette. You guys know how I feel about the Blend Bunny formula. You know I love the brand. You know I find it to be one of the best products out there, you know, brands out there. They have the best matte formula in my opinion. So I'm not questioning that at all. I'm just saying that this isn't for me or someone like me. I think that this is better suited for someone with an intermediate to expert level skill. And that is just because I don't have the skill set of a makeup artist. I am someone who learned how to do makeup on YouTube by myself, making this shit up and figuring out what I like for my facial structure. I'm sure that there are makeup artists who might watch me and be like, okay, you're doing that wrong, you're doing that wrong. And that's completely fine because I did not learn this. I did not learn the proper technique or anything in terms of how to apply makeup well. And this, I think, is, like I said, is for someone who is intermediate to expert slash master level when it comes to makeup, because this does require an understanding of blending and shape face and contouring that I don't have. I do think these perform well as eyeshadow. You know, the mattes are perfect Blend Bunny mattes, easy to work with. I'm very comfortable doing eyeshadow, so I had no issues there. But when it comes to face application, that's not my ministry, y'all. That's not my strong suit. Like you guys saw, I was questioning which shades were warm enough for me to use as a bronzer because I don't know how to contour. Is it something that I would like to eventually develop the skill to do? Yeah, sure. And that would require me playing in this palette a little bit more. So I do think it is, like I said, for that expert level individual or for someone who wants to learn. So like, the only way for me to figure out how to contour and find the shape of my face and figure out where I want to add shadow is by practicing. And this definitely gives me enough colors to mix and match to find the right tone for me. But it will take practice. I think this was definitely very well designed and curated and marketed towards bridal artists, makeup artists, anyone that's working with multiple clients and has that eye to figure out, okay, this person has this skin tone with this undertone, this skin type. I need to mix these two shades to find their perfect color. Me, I couldn't even find the perfect color for me. and that's just because I don't have that skill set. But in terms of the quality, I can't say anything bad about this. I think the quality performs absolutely well. I think it can be really hard to formulate products that work for both face and, you know, eyes, because when it comes to a face product, I think that one of the things that I look for is something that is easy to diffuse and it doesn't have too much pigment and punch, versus I look for the opposite when it comes to eyeshadow. Like, I want my eyeshadow to be punchy. I want it to show up. And I felt like these were excellent as eyeshadow, but they also blended out really nicely on the face. So it wasn't too much pigment, too much impact. Because I was like, is this just going to sit there and look like somebody then punched me? But it blended out really nice. I did have to go into another bronzer, as you guys saw, to get the warmth because I know what I did, but everything looked cool toned on me. And I was like, that's not right. So I did have to go into another bronzer, but I do think I'll have to play with this to figure out, you know, what works, what doesn't work for me. The shimmers, love these shimmers. They have a bit of a creamy texture, which is very different, I feel like, from the shimmers in the All Done Up and Sugar and Grunge palette, which felt a little bit looser. These definitely felt like they were creamier. They stuck to the eyelids really well. They have excellent shine as eyeshadow, but applied on the skin, on the face as highlight, whoo, chef's kiss. One of the hard things to do with eyeshadow as highlight is that sometimes you get those very, very obvious glitter particles where it looks like you just have glitter on your face. This melted into the skin. Like, you can see how it melted into the skin, and it still looks absolutely beautiful on the eyes. Now, I definitely went for a little bit more drama, so my eyes are very, very out there, but I do think you can soften this up depending on how much shimmer you put on there, so it's not as impactful if you want this to be a little bit softer, because I do also recognize that this is specifically marketed as a bridal palette, and not every bride wants to look like this. You know, totally fine. Overall, do I recommend this palette? I think it depends. This is one of those like very strong depends situations. One, the quality is superb. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the quality on this palette, so I just want to put that out there. Two, this is for a specific type of user, because I also believe that when it comes to face palettes and face palettes of this size, most of us are going to pick the 3-4 shades that we like and continue to use that. So some of these other shades are not going to be used as frequently, if at all. So I think that that is something to take into consideration, especially considering how large these pan sizes are. And y'all know we don't pan anything. Just if you're like me, you know you have a bunch of products that you've never hit pan on. If you are a working makeup artist, or if you are someone that wants to get into the makeup artistry field, you're just building your kit, I think that this could actually be a really great product. It's $44, which is amazing for those 16 giant eyeshadow pans. Well, face, you know, makeup pans, whatever you want to call it. I think that $44 is an excellent price. So if you are a working makeup artist or you're just building your kit, I think it makes a lot of sense if you want that as something to practice on. So I do think it depends on your use or how you intend to use this palette. But if you are a regular, schmegular, everyday consumer like myself, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be the best bang for your buck or the first Blend Bunny palette that I would recommend for you guys. I think that if you want to try Blend Bunny and, you know, this is your first foray into the brand, rather than trying to get a palette that can do everything, honestly, pick one of the eyeshadow palettes and just start there. Because you may not get as much use out of this as someone who is a working makeup artist and has clients and has a bigger range of skin tones and skin types that they need to work with. But yeah, that's it. I like it. I had fun with it. I am excited to continue playing with it. I am someone who loves to learn, and I feel like I've hit my cap when it comes to eyeshadow. Well, not really. I could always learn more because I have a very standard look that I do, and I can definitely play around more with like graphic liner and, you know, testing out different eyeshadow techniques. So there's a lot more for me to learn there. But when it comes to shadowing and shading and contouring and framing the face and sort of sculpting the face, that is where I definitely have a lot to learn. So this is going to be a challenge for me, and I look forward to that. I look forward to learning more about makeup, to figuring out how else to make that palette work for me. So I'm excited, but yeah, that's it for me, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my first impressions, thoughts on the new Blend Bunny Forget Me Not palette. Oh shoot, I did not tell you all about the brushes. Brushes, let's just quickly talk about it. Overall, these brushes are really nice. I think I like the fluffy one. It is a little bit on the stiffer end. I do tend to prefer something with a little bit more give to it, and this one is definitely a lot more dense and doesn't have as much give when it comes to blending. But overall, still pretty nice. It picks up the products well, it blends it out, it does what it needs to do. This is an excellent flat, dense brush for eyeshadow. I think this would also work really well if you have cream eyeshadows or liquid eyeshadows that you want to apply to the lids. Excellent precision, especially for getting up in the inner parts of this eye, in parts of the eye that I think that would be great. Now, I haven't used the angle brush, but I do want to try this because I think it'd be great to go in with the black shadow as liner instead of actually applying liner. I think that would be an awesome thing for me to try. This is a very unique brush. I almost attempted to give myself a little bit of a nose contour, but I was like, you done tested enough today. Let's just relax because you're doing the most. So I didn't go ahead and test that. And then there's the final brush, which is the face brush. I love the angle of this. These are the types of brushes that I love to use when it comes to, you know, bronzing my face. So I was really happy by this. And I also think that this has a really unique shape to it that you could use this as blush as well. I would be okay using this as a blush brush as well. It actually has the same shape to like the Refa number four. I think, yeah, the number 4 brush from Refa. So you can see that kind of angled shape. It's just bigger. And this is just a little bit denser. And that's one thing I noticed about these brushes is that they're all just a little bit denser than some of the brushes that I have. But it doesn't mean it's bad by any means. So yeah, that's it, y'all. Whew. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about the palette, whether you picked this up, whether it's something that you're interested in, who do you think is the right audience for this palette, all of that, leave that in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you guys so very, very much for watching, for, you know, engaging with my content. I appreciate you so much more than you know. Be safe, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!